All right, everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we got a good surprise. We got the state record archery buck killed off of public land. So we're at Mr. Coffey's house, Mr. Randy Coffey. We're gonna walk through here and look a bunch of his public land deer, and then I'm gonna get with him and we'll do a story, and he's gonna tell us how he killed it and give all the details and just look at this. It's a little old bullwinkle buck with its nickname, and it's a cool, crazy looking deer. So we're gonna look at some of these and we'll get to that one. So right here is probably about the biggest daggum 6-point, maybe 7-point I've ever seen. He said it was pushing 240 pounds of live weight, and he couldn't get on a truck hard by himself, but that thing is 21.5 inches or more inside spread, just a beast of a buck. So I mean, that thing, look at the body on it, sucker, something else. So then all of this wall is all public land deer with the exception of this bottom right one, but they're all amazing bucks. Just, I mean, for public land, I mean, he's one of the legendary killers. You know, there's some of these guys that, you know, we talked to, like Tony Myers and Ronald Lehman and stuff, some of the older generation. Here's the huge archery bow kill, the state record. We're going to talk about it in a minute, but I'm talking about a freaky sucker. Bullwinkle. How many points do they have?
26 scoreable. He's got one on the back side.
I've seen that.
Off that left, and he had one on the right, just like it. It broke off. But he had a hole dug in the back of his neck where every time he'd raise his head up, it could cut him.
Wow.
It was like a gut hook.
26 scoreable points. So it's just a crazy buck. So right there's a wide, pretty sucker too. So how many of them was bow kills?
Let's see.
That's a good looking coup.
3. That bottom one right there, and the sneak, and this one here in the state record.
Wow, so he's got 3 archery kills. I mean, they're all, you know, great bucks, and this is one of them right here. It's a cool looking bent horn. I know a guy, a buddy of mine, that killed one that had a bent horn like that out there, just a big old 8-point similar. So
I had never killed one with acorn point until I killed my first one. Then everything I killed after that happened.
yeah, this is a wall full of crazy big public land bucks. So we're going to get set up and talk to him and let him tell us the story, and we'll ask him a few questions. So y'all just hang on. Crazy. Yeah, that point that goes behind that head is something else. That's neat. So
I had on 3 layers. I had on insulates, a regular set, and nearly every one of these deers come when I had that chemical suit on. You know them things you used to buy for like 30 bucks?
Yep.
All but this one and that one. I had the chemical suit on the rest of them, I think. I still got it.
That's crazy. All right, so Mr. Coffey, if you don't care to tell us the story on how you killed this big old monster with a bow. So.
It was on December the 12th, 2000. And that week, the high all week long was like, I'm wanting to say 29 degrees for the high.
Wow.
That week. And the wind, it was on full moon. The wind was blowing about 18 miles an hour that morning when I got up. And I said, heck, I'm just going to hunt middle of the day. So I went up there and hunted from 8 to 12. Didn't see nothing. I come back home and I laid here on this couch, went to sleep, and woke up and went outside, and the wind had settled down a little bit. So I said, heck, I'm going to go. So I left here at like 3:30 maybe, and it was getting dark at 5:30 then. You know, I said, I'm just going to go ahead and get my stand in there and leave it for the next day. So I go in there and I get to looking around. I found a beech tree about this big around, just shredded, and a big fresh scrape under it. So I got to looking around for a tree, and I couldn't find anything. And there was a little white oak about this big around, and I could get maybe 13, 14 foot up it. I get up there and I get settled in, and I think the wind chill was like 17 degrees when I left the house. and had on 3 layers of clothes, basically 4. I had coveralls on top. So I get up my tree and get my bow out, get it on my little holder on my stand. About right at 4 o'clock, I looked down the draw to my right, and there was a big spruce. And all of a sudden, something come out from under it, and it just shook its head. And I was like, what the heck? He was probably 90 yards from me then. So he comes walking up there right to that scrape, and I'm sitting here, and I had got stood up on him when I first saw him. And I'm sitting there holding my bow out in front of me like this, and I know y'all know what I'm talking about. And the end of that broadhead was just doing this. I wasn't really tore up or nothing, because I thought he had something just hung in his horns. And so anyway, I'm sitting there looking at him at 17 yards, and he's looking right dead at me. And I'm like, this ain't gonna happen. Ain't no possible way. Well, all of a sudden, he squats and starts taking a crap in the scrape. And there was a waterfall about probably 75 yards below. And something went off of it or something, and it went splat. And when it did, he turned his head, and I just put everything I had. And when I got back, that green pin was just settled perfect, just right on his shoulder. And so I shot, watched him run. He ran off like he wasn't even hurt, tail up in the air, loping. And I knew that I had hit him good. There wasn't no doubt in my mind. And so I give him about 15 minutes. The truck was probably maybe 150 yards from me. And so I just ease down, get my stand, go back to the truck, come home, get my brother, which he was eating, went to Tony Meyer's house, and he was in the shower. So I had to wait a little while, and I was telling Tony about it, showed him there and everything. He said, yeah, that deer's dead. And so we get up there, and we start trailing away. He went with no blood, no nothing. My brother said, thought you hit the deer. Well, we took about 10 more steps, and it was like a wash tub where he'd opened up. And he may have went 75 yards, and I didn't even see him pile up.
Wow.
So that's pretty much the story behind him. No idea he was there. I went to hunt a big 10 point that me and my brother had saw laying on the side of the road watching 3 does across the road.
Really? Wow.
Because I had already found the sign, you know.
So what did he score?
231 and 5/8, I think, Alabama. 206 and something, 5/8 or something, Buckmasters.
Big old.
Pope and Young was don't hold me to it. It was around 222.
Wow.
223.
Monster buck anyway. I mean, over a 200-inch deer, huge, public land. Just Alabama public land buck. You don't hear about that much. Even on private land, there hasn't been a 200-inch deer killed in Alabama on private or public in 4 or 5 years, as far as I know. So, I mean, it just don't happen. And he done it with a bow, y'all. So, I mean,
just blessed.
I mean,
the guy had found this left shed. It's still up at the checking station, as far as I know. Ron Eakes wouldn't give it to me, but he found it about a half a mile from where I killed him the year before.
Wow.
Everybody was like, he didn't shed something, something's wrong with him, morphodite. But his ball.
Wow.
And but undoubtedly he had definitely been breeding.
Yeah.
I've been hanging cameras in there for a long time now, trying to catch another one like it.
Yeah, you ain't seen anything. I've seen that shed, but you haven't seen anything nowhere near like it get killed. It's crazy. The genetics is there. It just takes some kind of a freaky years. And the Ronald Lehman deer was killed the same year, right?
2 days before.
I mean,
it was a drought year, just like we had this year. No water, no acorns, and the rut didn't even. I found my first scrape like Thanksgiving, and normally I'm hunting scrapes to open the bow season, before they started opening on the first. Now back in the day, when it was all true Wisconsin and deer, heck, you go up there in September, man, woods just be tore up.
Yeah.
And but I've hunted it my whole life. I just soon hunt it as anywhere, just because I know what's there, Just
right.
I've got chances to hunt other places, but Bankhead's home.
Yeah. So, what is your favorite time of the year to be hunting out there?
Anywhere from Thanksgiving to the 15th of December has been my most success, I guess. Nearly all of these have came between December the 10th and 15th, except for 2 that came on Thanksgiving.
So you're pretty much talking the secondary rut.
The end of the first or the, starting of the second. Just depends. I mean, it's different every year, it seems like now. Since they got the deer crossed up with the native deer that they turned loose, it's just been like a trickle rut for me. It's not like the old rut like they have in Illinois out west and stuff like it used to be.
You prefer bow hunting, right?
I prefer bow hunting, but 2 back surgeries and getting old, I've got more leaning to crossbow and millennium tree seeds.
There's nothing wrong with that. So you've been out there for all your life, I mean, pretty much. And what would be the freakiest or scariest situation that you've had out there that you couldn't really explain, or end up explaining it later that you just, or you can't explain it?
I know what it was, but I was walking a creek going into my stand one morning, and there was a bluff to my left, and I got dead even with this bobcat, and that son of a gun squealed in my ear. I dropped my rifle, throwed my stand off, and I took off, and I had to go back later and get it. It scared me so bad. I was about 17 or 18 years old, I guess.
Wow.
But I had hair then, and it made it all stand up.
Wow. So what did you prefer as far as hunting, mornings or evenings?
I guess I like the morning hunt. I mean, it's usually 8 to 10 for me.
A lot of people talk about the 8 to 10 thing, so it's either right at daylight, but most of the bigger deer that seem to be is 8 to 10. So.
On the big moons and stuff, I like the evenings better, seems like. I mean, that's when he came. It was the full moon when I killed him, so.
So you prefer to hunt higher up on a ridge or in the bottom, or?
Well, depends on the acre crop lot, but I prefer like points where like maybe 2 or 3 come together, above waterfalls, anywhere you got a pinch point that they've got to, that if anything comes through there, you're going to see it.
Right. That's a good strategy. Well, we sure appreciate you letting us come into the house and see this monster buck and these other big great deers, and we really enjoyed it. And anybody, hey, if y'all think anybody else that's killed any monster ones on public land, let me know. But I don't think you're gonna come one bigger than this one, because this has been since the year 2000, so 23 years coming up. So
Mike Canley from Buckmaster's Rack named him the Millennium Buck, I think is what he called it.
I can believe it. The old Mike Hanley's a good one. He retired this past year.
Yeah, he's an artist.
He's a painting artist now.
Yeah, they all came down. Russell Thornberry, Darren Thornberry, Mike Canley, and Geisha, his wife, Gita, and Ken Piper. He's the editor now for Buckmasters. They all come down, and I ended up hunting out west, nearly in Iowa with Ken, and I stuck a 190-inch typical, and the little neighboring landowner wouldn't let us go look for it.
Wow, that hurts.
Mm-hmm.
Hey everybody, we sure appreciate y'all watching our videos, and if you don't care, like, subscribe if you haven't, and share, tell your friends, and if you haven't had a chance to pick up one of my books, please pick one up on Amazon. If you want one signed or personalized, anything like that, hey, I'll do it. So we just really appreciate y'all's support, so thank y'all for stopping by. We'll see y'all in the next video.